Now, let's talk about Diddy, P. Diddy, and this has to be the craziest story of the week. If it's true, it's the dumbest thing the Trump administration will ever do. There are reports, CJ, that Donald Trump is seriously considering pardoning Sean Diddy Combs. CJ, surely not.
I would hope not. You know, if I were in the room with the president advising him on this decision, I would say absolutely not. I think this is an individual who, regardless of the totality of what he was accused of, all of these things, you know, where there's smoke, there is fire. And I don't think that he deserves a pardon from this president. This is someone who actively was an opponent of this president, was very critical of President Trump. And you know what they say, you know, when you win the ball game, everyone wants to be your friend. It's not how that works, right? And so I think if Diddy is guilty of the crimes that he's been accused of, which he was found guilty of certain counts in his trial, then he should actually spend his time in prison and do his time just like any other everyday American would be forced to do.
You're so right about his history, what we already know he's guilty of, what he's been captured on video doing. He's not only a vile, woman-beating miscreant, but he's also been a hard-left, Trump-hating activist as well.
White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking is real dangerous. When you look at it, we don't have no choice.
CJ, P. Diddy was among the Democrats' most effective campaigners. His Vote or Die campaign was considered a huge success, but the Democrats have kind of memory holed that whole phenomenon, haven't they?
You know, they absolutely have, just as they've memory hold, you know, Bill Clinton's ties with Jeffrey Epstein. They don't like to talk about that much anymore. And of course, you know, many of their biggest donors' ties to Epstein as well. You know, here's my thing. I have no sympathy for P. Diddy. I have no sympathy for anything that he did. But what I do have sympathy for are his victims. And so I think that in light of all of this, no, you don't get to come over to our side and suck up to the president and say, give me a pardon. No, you did the crime. You do the time. I don't care if you're P. Diddy or just a man named Diddy. You do the time, and that's exactly what he should do.
Now, CJ, I want to show you a clip from CNN, possibly the first time CNN asked a hard question of Democrat Nancy Pelosi. She didn't like it.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
But I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous.
CJ, Pelosi is a stock market genius. The wealth she has accumulated while in public office is something to behold.
You know, it makes even Warren Buffett's mouth water, right? You know, it's interesting to see that, you know, Jake Tapper is finally asking questions. He's probably looking at his ratings and saying, maybe I need to try something and do something a little bit different. But, you know, I welcome, of course, legislation that was recently passed out of committee that will actually ban, you know, members of Congress from owning and selling stocks while they're in office. These people shouldn't be able to engage and act based on the information that they have that no other American has to enrich themselves. There's no reason that someone should go into Congress, make $174,000, but yet leave a multimillionaire. And so I think that this is a welcome, you know, step forward. And I hope that this ultimately passes and is signed into law.
Well, I think that's why public trust in politicians has been so low, because you see that in the US. You see these people going into politics with no asset base, and then after a lifetime in politics, decades, they walk away enormously rich. And you look at the salary they're earning and their wealth at the end of their political career, and it does not make sense. Now, Kamala Harris, we have to talk about her, the former vice president. She announced earlier today that she will not run for California governor in 2026. CJ, we know what this means. She wants to run for president again.
And I hope that she does, Rita. Looking at the decision, she actually may be a little bit smarter than I thought she was initially, but maybe not if she's still weighing a presidential run in 2028. I think the American people will do exactly what they did in 2024, reject her resoundingly, because her problems will still remain the same. She will continue to be inauthentic. She will continue to change her accents with the wind, and she will continue to fail to resonate with the American people and to meet them where they are. And so if I could envision any type of rematch, it would be between Kamala Harris and JD Vance. And it's because I know that JD Vance will absolutely wipe the floor with her.
That would be brutal. Can you imagine Kamala v. JD? That would be, even I would feel sorry for her because she was, CJ, such a uniquely terrible candidate, wasn't she? She outspent Donald Trump enormously. She spent $1.5 billion in 15 weeks and still managed to lose every swing state, lose the popular vote, lose the Electoral College in a landslide. If she runs again, I think it's going to be happy days for the Republicans. CJ Pearson, thank you so much for your time tonight.